Welcome you all in this session. In this session of 25 to 30 minutes, I will try to explore some aspects associated with system analysis. As we know, whenever we are looking for development of certain software system or certain applications, we often hear that we have to do proper analysis, then we have to do proper design, and then only we can develop the system which we are looking for and all our objectives will be met. So what actually analysis means, that we will discuss, and that too in the context of one paradigm that is very popular, that is object oriented paradigm. So in that paradigm we will be discussing about object oriented analysis. So let us start and see what actually a system development requires. When we talk about developing a software system, first of all we think about what is need of that system, and then we talk about if system is developed, what are the objectives that will be met by the system. These are the two very basic considerations of any system development, and then further we talk about what kind of technology platform we will be using to develop that system. Whenever we talk about technology platform, definitely we talk about the approaches which are generally used for development of software systems, and after that we discuss about what are the different stakeholders who are involved in the system. Different stakeholder means its users, the people who are going to manage that system, what kind of updation and what kind of modification time to time required to handle the system properly. If some kind of certain upgradation in the system is required, who are the people who will be monitoring those things and then communicating to the people who are involved in the process of development and further enhancement of the system. So overall ecosystem of the system is considered to be as a stakeholders in the system. So if we are talking about overall eco of our system, then only we can have a proper understanding about what are the roles and responsibilities of different people involved in the system, and then only we can meet our objective which we have defined and for which we are going to develop the system. And if all these things we are considering, definitely we are going to talk about the complexity aspect, how complex that system is. It's all depend on our requirement, it's all depend on what kind of activities we are going to perform, what are the different objectives to be met, and also it's depend on the scale on which we are going to perform those activities. All these things combined together broadly define or explain the complexity of the system. If system is of complex nature, it means it is having different component in it. All those components are performing certain activities. It is having different stakeholder which are contributing in the system in terms of providing certain input, in terms of monitoring the process, in terms of consuming the output. So all these things in combination are going to define the complexity of the system. You may see many systems around you, and you may find that those systems are working with the help of different stakeholders, working for meeting the different objectives, and that is why you can, as an individual user of the system, can visualize and can think about that if a system as a whole is taken, then how complex that particular system will be. One example here we may take, we generally interact with the system in which we try to do railway reservation. In that we see how actually our individual profile is managed. In that term, if you think about the lakhs of user of that particular portal or that particular service, then how actually those all things are managed. There are several number of trains which are registered in that, several number of sources from where the people are commuting or doing their reservation. There are several number of destinations to which the reservation to be done. So these all things in combination making the system too complex, and there are so many smaller component associated in that system, and those all components together making that system possible. So that is one example. Similarly, many more examples you can think from different domains. Now, if we talk about specifically what actually we are going to do when we are doing system analysis. In the process of system analysis, we are trying to find out two aspects. One is what is need of the client that should be formalized, that should be listed down, and what is the mandate of the system, what actually that system is going to do. If we think about a system may be too complex. If we think about that system in terms of just little effort, for example, you are doing some assignment and in that assignment you are developing certain system, then definitely you will be using very few components to develop your system, and definitely that system which you are developing as part of certain assignment problem of your course of study, in that you are not looking all the aspects associated with that, so complexity of the system is naturally less. But if the system is going to be developed for certain domain, certain specific problem, and if you are looking all the aspects associated with the system to operate properly, then definitely that system will be complex, and in that sense it is very essential at the time of system analysis itself to find out what actually system is going to do. So in summary, you can say that extracting need of the system is done at the level of system analysis. And one more important aspect associated with analysis process is that while doing analysis as an expert or as a student, you don't have to think about that how actually system is going to be developed. So how system will be developed is not considered. What system should do is considered at the time of analysis, and that should be find out during the process of analysis. Obviously, the important aspect comes when we do system analysis is that how actually we are going to think about that system. For example, if we take, let us say, financial domain, banking sector, some law agency management, healthcare systems, transportations, these all are different domain, and these domains are having their own specific requirements. So whenever we are doing system analysis, it is essential for us to have proper understanding about how actually that domain specific knowledge will help us. So having knowledge of domain is very important. That is why the people who are having expertise or the people who are having knowledge of that particular domain are part of the system analysis process. When system analysis is done, when problems are defined and when different objectives are identified and freeze, the help of the domain expert is taken. Then only you can properly identify that what system is going to do. If as an external entity, or if we are not having knowledge of that particular domain and we are trying to develop the system, then definitely we will not be in position to identify the objectives of the system properly. We will not be in position to engage ourselves properly with the people who are, for whom the system are going to be developed, or the people who are actually going to work on that particular system, that how actually different objectives are met. Until unless you identify the objectives properly, you cannot design the system. If you cannot design the system, then definitely the system design which you will be having with the partial knowledge of the domain will not serve your purpose. You will not meet the requirement which actually for which the system to be developed. So that is why understanding of problem domain is essential, and the role of system analyst come there. The system analyst, generally the expert or the people in the industry who are actually assigned the responsibility of doing system analysis, are considered to be those people who are having good number of experience or good experience in the study of the different systems in a specific domain, and even domain specific knowledge is required. For that, domain specialists are also there, to whom the system analyst may interact. And if you have gone through the system analysis and design course, in that particular course you might have learned that what are the different roles and responsibilities of the system analyst. So in summary, the responsibility of the system analyst is to have interaction with the people who actually can provide their input about finding out the requirement of the system which is going to be developed. And they must have good experience in understanding the system, in identifying the different component of the system, and obviously they should have good communication skill also, because they have to interact with the clients, interact with the people who are having experience and expertise in that particular domain, so that they can extract the actual working knowledge of that particular system and they can list down the objectives of the system properly. And in addition to that, if something they are having as a conclusion, for that also they should interact with peer group, they should interact with the domain expert to validate their understanding. It is very essential. Now as a student, if we are doing, let us say at bachelor's level or master's level, some software development we are planning and we are doing some kind of system analysis, then how actually we will do? We are not system analyst at that stage, but we have to act as a system analyst. So for that, how we can do? We can study the system. Even sometime if needed, we can visit the environment of that particular system. We can find out different component in that particular ecosystem. We can interact with the people who are using that system or the people who are managing that particular system, so that we will have some understanding about the system. One example here you can take. Suppose you have to develop a system for student registration in university. Now you are university student and you know how you have registered yourself in the university. So now you know the working process of that particular system. So if you have to develop your own system for this particular activity, you should be in position to do that, because you know in university you have to apply. If in certain program, then you have to develop certain kind of application. That application will be choosing certain courses, certain fee structure will be there that should be paid, certain gateways will come in picture, so that through that you can pay the fee. After processing of the fee, certain reports should be generated that you will be having as output or receipt of your registration. So these all things you have to think virtually, and once you will start noting down all these things, what actually you are doing is you are doing system analysis for development of such system, and you are trying to identify the objectives of that particular system. So these are some kind of smaller game that you should play yourself. You should identify certain system and you should try to find out the different component, what kind of objective of that particular system should be if I am going to propose as a system analysis. And one important aspect is that if some system is already there and that system is having certain common component, how actually that component may be reused when we are developing some other system of similar nature. Now, as I said, object-oriented paradigm. So in object-oriented paradigm, the key issue or the central issue is the concept of objects and class. So object-oriented means class and object plus inheritance plus communicating with message. So here very briefly I will just mention that what actually object and class is. Object, you take any real world entity which is having some kind of activity associated with it. Anything which is having logical or physical existence is an object. Now it don't means that all the objects will come into play in your system. Then what you have to do? You have to identify the objects which are associated with your system. Then only you will be in position to just find out and freeze those objects. An object is a real world entity which is having some physical or logical existence. For example, in a classroom situation, teacher is an object, student is an object, Maybe if you are having some projector, that is also an object. If some board is there on which the things are being written or explained, that is also an object. So in that way you can see there are so many objects associated together, they all are playing certain role to conduct a classroom situation. Similarly, any other example if you take, in that also you will try to find out many objects which are participating in that. Now the concept of class comes, those objects which are having similar characteristics, if they are grouped together, that comes as a concept of class. Class is formally defined as template of objects. Now inheritance, in object oriented technology, inheritance is one of the key feature, and this feature explains about how actually if something you have already developed, on that how you can build further. So it is that if you are having something developed, you can inherit that property to the next generation. So parent-child relationship you can think. If parents are having certain property, you don't have to redevelop that particular property. As a child, what you have to do, you have to use that particular property and expand further something else. So it means if something is already there and on that if you have to build something, then whatever is there that you can reuse directly, you don't have to reinvent the wheel again. And complexity of the system, if we talk about complexity of the system in object oriented scenario, in that we can say that complexity of the system is associated with the number of classes and how those classes are interacting with each other. And interaction takes place with the help of the concept that is known as message. One object communicate to another object with the help of message. This message is nothing but some kind of method calling. These are few key concepts around which object oriented analysis is done. Abstraction. Abstraction is basically breaking the processes down into sub steps for handling complexity. What actually you need, you try to look that particular only just by decomposing whole system into a smaller system, that you can see as a abstraction process. Encapsulation and information hiding. Object oriented technology provide features of data protection, or whatsoever we think around the data. And the concept of object, if you see from some object, any object you can take information only if object is wishing to give that particular information to you. It means there are certain mechanisms through which only you can communicate from one to another, that is the method, and data is protected inside the object. So implementation details talks about the encapsulating the things. And inheritance, as I mentioned, that it provides the concept of reusability and extension. Association refers the concept of union or connection of different objects involved in the process of activities which are going to fulfill the required objectives. Association, here object and class can be used interchangeably. How actually classes are associated with each other, that is going to tell about what kind of association is there. Interface and message passing, it takes place with the help of the methods, and those methods provide certain kind of interfaces between the objects which are communicating to each other, and that termed as message passing. Now some key criteria how actually we should think about when we are going to use the object oriented analysis. In that we have to think about, if we are thinking about object, that what kind of information that object is going to store permanently. It means persistency. Behavior means what kind of data associated with the object that will be depicted, and that will be depicted with the help of certain methods. And attributes, again what kind of characteristic you are going to associate with certain objects. There are more than one object, in that case how they are going to communicate and what kind of association they are having, and what kind of services are actually going to be offered by different objects in the system, that you have to identify. And that you can do only if you are having your domain specific requirements with you, and domain knowledge is essential for that. And If you have to proceed, you have to think about how actually you have to gather the information associated with the domain. Then you have to investigate the problem domain and study the problem domain, observe the existing system, whether something can be extracted from there. If some objects are already there, what kind of attributes and methods associated with them, so that you can pick that directly and you can put in your objective. Actively listen the domain expert, then only you will be in position to find out the objective properly. And if something is already there, check that particular so that you can find out some reuse available, and develop some prototype, study about that, and then only go for some final development. The discussion in this particular session took place is referred by a book, that is Object Oriented Analysis by Peter Cote. This book is very crispy and very good, that you can refer and you can read this book. This will provide a very quick understanding about how actually analysis of the system is done in context of object oriented analysis. With this, I conclude this session here. Thank you very much.